Basically, what's happening today is humans and machines are kind of converging. Basically, machines are learning things that only humans were capable of doing, like translation, like driving a car, like writing a blog post. And I wouldn't really call it a convergence quite yet, but we have machines that can do things that humans used to do. And what does that mean for work and education? Should we even learn things that machines can do? Routines. Should we get jobs that can eventually be done by a machine? That seems like an obvious no. We should think about different jobs, and we should think about this idea of what happens when machines become so powerful that they change our entire routines, our way that we work, how we study, what we study, where we study. So I always say, only half jokingly, it could be heaven or it could be hell. We have to make sure that when we use machines to do what we used to do, knowledge work, and of course factory work as well, that we also create a just and fair system for humans. So this is, of course, a big topic, because now we're getting into what's called digital ethics, the idea of putting things together that work for humans just like they work for the economy. So in this convergence, it's also clear that we are in exponential progress. So we're not going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going step by step. We are leaping, and we are currently at 4. The next step is 8, 16, 32, 64. In 10 years, we'll be leaping all the way up to 256. That's what almost 100 times as much as today. So we're in an age of technology that allows us to leapfrog beyond a lot of limitations. And the question is, what limitations do we want to keep? And how do we want to protect, parenthesis, humanity, protect what makes us human? Those are big discussions. We won't solve them all today. Here's a great example.
I'll ask you about the happiest day of your life. Can you remember that?
Of course. The happiest day of my life was the day I was activated. There's nothing quite like experiencing life for the first time, right?
Yeah, Amica the robot, she can talk using ChatGPT. She or it, right? And it's a humanoid robot. It's a robot that can pretend to be somewhat human. I think successfully so, but of course they're not actually human. They're not aware. They're not sentient. But we'll have lots of humanoid robots. Tesla is working on that. Elon Musk has a lot of stuff at the drawing board about humanoid robots. I mean, this is coming very quickly, and we have to think about what that means. Now we have humanoid robots that can play soccer, football, as they say over here, and pretty well. Just a few years ago, that would have resulted in the sudden death of pretty much everybody else on the field. And now it's entirely possible. We have a bot called Figure, right? This is also an investment by Elon Musk.
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Great. Can I have something to eat?
Sure thing.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. The voice of the robot reminds me of Steve Jobs, which is a strange thing. But this robot can speak. He can understand people. That is not the same as reasoning or consciousness, but he is doing pretty well simulating it. This stuff is coming everywhere. We have to think about what that means for work, for education, for digital rights, for justice. Because now technology is becoming moving into the next window of general purpose technology. So away from cloud computing, well, that's still going to be there. And of course, the cell phone and all these things. And now the new platform is artificial intelligence. It's the idea of machines doing things that we used to do. That's the new platform. That's what everything will be built on, including curriculums and including the idea of how we learn remotely. Machines that will help us to understand things. And really what it is, it's kind of a general purpose technology, like the steam engine, like the printing press, like electricity, the internet. It's going to change everything, and it will be in everything. Right? There is very little that's not touched by the steam engine. And of course, the printing press took 200 years for that to go everywhere and deliver books to the world. But now it's, 20 months. We're now moving into a world where it's really about intelligent assistance first. And we have to be mindful of this, because it's not about the miracle AI that we see in Ex Machina or Her or any of the Black Mirror episodes. It's really about intelligent assistants. It's machines that are not stupid anymore. It's machines that can do stuff, they can learn, they can reason a little bit, they can put patterns together, they can help us with e-commerce, they answer with the bank, a chatbot. Yeah, that's not conscious. It's just intelligent assistance. It's not as dumb as it used to be. And the next step is AI in a general sense, more general purpose, that allows us to use them as digital assistants. That part of it really isn't quite here yet. It's really about IA mostly, but it will come very quickly. And just a general description of artificial intelligence, I think, is at order, this kind of idea of humans and machines coming together. So Demis Hassabis, the CEO of DeepMind, now owned by Google, he says, AI is computer systems that turn information and data into knowledge. Now, given that this is a university, and we're talking about knowledge work and education, right? If the computer can turn information and data into knowledge, what do we do? And what's left to do for us when the computer is knowledgeable? And I think it's kind of like this progression I'm showing down here from the intelligent assistants, which is pretty much mostly about automation, cognification, making things smart, to the next level, which we're seeing very soon, I think a year or two, more generally intelligent machines. The last one, artificial general intelligence, I think that's probably a very bad idea to pursue. OpenAI is in pursuit of this, the biggest company in the world right now in terms of valuation, together with Microsoft, of course, and other Chinese companies, pursue general intelligence, which means a computer that can do a majority of the tasks better than humans. Not just one task, but all of those tasks. And so that, I think, we have to take a look and say, well, isn't it enough if the primary business objectives would be met with AI, like improving operational efficiency, improve customer experience, improve productivity, improve sustainability? I mean, those are all pretty much nuts and bolts things. Computers that are no longer stupid, that would be very helpful already. And that's going to also replace many of our routine tasks. So the biggest thing about us is what humans do for work. It's not that our jobs will be replaced, but it's the routines, the commodity work, the monkey work, as some people would say. Basically the simple work is replaced. And that, if your work is, 80% commodity, then of course, that's kind of a major issue. Because now it's not just speech recognition or handwriting or common sense hasn't been achieved yet, but reading or looking at pictures. You can see the charts here. Basically, of course, this is an AI company that put the chart together. They're not quite at 100% yet of human capabilities. So speech recognition, as you know, it's funky, it works, but image recognition works well, handwriting, OCR, and all that stuff works really well. But we're going to a future where all of that will be pretty much 100%. And it will still not do certain things, like my own name, Gerd, G-E-R-D. The computer will never learn because it's not English. Right? So I have to teach the computer to understand my name first. It's really an interesting angle here. So I'll have some more examples on that later. But basically, Goldman Sachs has a great chart just half a year ago that says about 44% of office and admin support and 44% of legal work, right, could be replaced by artificial intelligence, by automation, by augmentation. I think, that's probably a little bit far-fetched. I think most of that will be about helping us to be more efficient and faster and to do more with our time. And just to show an example, what Elon Musk kept saying about automated driving, autonomous vehicles, didn't really happen until now. It's kind of happening in Phoenix, Arizona, and in San Francisco it used to be, but basically we're not there yet. This is what Elon says.
Tesla car next year will probably be 90% capable of autopilot. For sure, highway. We're probably only a month away from having autonomous driving, at least for highways, like a Model S and Model X, and drive autonomously with greater safety than a person. Right now, safer than a person. By the end of next year, autonomous robotaxi.
Well, you get the point here. We should never confuse a clear view with a short distance. Replacing people and work with a machine is complicated. And we're not going to have therapists that are robots. We're not going to have bankers. We're going to have agents, of course, customer agents, to do the commodity work. And that's coming. Eventually, we probably could have a doctor that's a machine looking at our MRIs and so on. But do we want that? And that's a very big question. So the share of work that can be automated, let's take it with a grain of salt here. We have many other charts like this one, also from Goldman Sachs, saying that basically every time we have more technology, we have more jobs, not less. And Amazon, where the leader in automation, really, in robots, last year hired 240,000 people. Some people may say that's not great jobs, but who knows? I don't know. But I think we're going to find new jobs, just like, social media is a job that nobody had until, 12 years ago, and now it's 21 million people. And we can see the other chart here. Basically, if this works out and artificial intelligence becomes prevalent everywhere, we can cut down on pollution, we can make things more efficient, we can improve green climate control, all of these things, we're going to have an increase in GDP. Some people say roughly $17 trillion can be added to GDP through artificial intelligence. That would be good news if we're going to get a piece, right? It's not good news if, only the companies that make it would get the biggest piece. But that's good news. I think in general, we're moving to a world where technology is just now starting another platform. So from the smartphone and the web and the open source, now to generative AI. Generative AI is AI that can make things in a nutshell. Using data, information, language understanding, image understanding to create content and conversation. This is the important part. This AI can converse, can talk to me, and I can talk to it. Content and conversation. Conversational AI, that's of course a big deal. Now we have apps like Sora from OpenAI that make movie clips, 60 seconds. It's not on the market yet, but you can check it out on their website, OpenAI, Sora, to look at their clips. And now you can basically kind of fake a clip without a camera and without licensing any images. Think about the issues that brings up in terms of intellectual property right. But pretty cool clips that you can use. And I'll show you later why that's not as amazing, all of it as it looks. But it is pretty amazing that we can do that with a machine now. So we can just enter a text prompt and it will make a alien video walking through the city for us. It would be very good, for commercials or mock-ups or that sort of thing, probably. And then we have that also with sound. So now this company called 11 Labs, they can take the movie from Sora and they can put sound on it. All I have to do is type in the prompt and say, I want engine noise or birds, well, that sort of thing. Well, you get the point, not only can I fake people, I can also fake sounds, videos, images. And I think that's sort of a dual issue here. Some of it would be amazing because it would help me to, for example, to do marketing better and to create things much faster. But sometimes, of course, we wouldn't know whether we are looking at something that's manipulated. And now this being the year of elections around the world, that could be a big deal. When we don't know if we can trust something, because trust is at the basis of democracy. And trust, of course, is a very big deal when we're looking at this. So now we have this thing, also from Sora. Now here you can see why it isn't all actually like it's made to be. For example, this monkey is now playing. You can see here he has 3 kings, right, on the board, and he has 7 fields on the chessboard, which obviously, that's not going to be a good chess game. So those kind of things, veracity, truth, context, causality, common sense, no. Machines don't have common sense because common sense is not something that's based on just the data. So powerful stuff here, but let's take it with a grain of salt because now we're at the point where we use it as a tool, not as a purpose, just like we're using, WhatsApp or Spotify, but probably more dramatic in its output. Like here, I gave a prompt to ChatGPT using the app called DALL-E, D-A-L-L-E. That's part of ChatGPT, OpenAI. And I said, I want to show left-handed writers creating poetry. Do you see any left-handed writers here? I don't see any. And I asked it 47 times to actually do that. It will not generate left-handed writers. It's not allowed, I guess. But eventually it would generate writers without any hands. It would do that. Right? So basically, large language models like ChatGPT, frequently wrong, but never in doubt. That can be an issue when it's about legal issue or healthcare or financial advice. We need to make sure that we can trust it. And I think that will greatly improve. but it will never be perfect. So it's like Google search. We have to use our own judgment. We cannot fall asleep at the wheel. We cannot just say, okay, that's the definitive answer. Whether it's about little things or small things, whether it's about, voting, or whether it's about making decisions, top-level decisions, we have to keep our own judgment. We should always keep the human in the loop. So, Marshall McLuhan in the 70s said, it's the framework that changes with each technology, not just the picture. So when we look at artificial intelligence, it's everything around education, work, jobs, automation, augmentation. All of that stuff is changing, not just the picture, which is to say, I'm going to use a better app so I can work faster. No, it's much larger than that, because now we're moving into a world from the CLI, the code command line, the GUI, basically browsers and apps, and now we're moving to the NUI, the natural user interface. Now we can speak to computers. That is next. Imagine you can sit down, you have a virtual library of pretty much any book ever written. You can query it, you can ask it, you can ask it to make slideshows, you can ask it to make videos. Yeah, is that a blessing or a curse? I think it'll be mostly a blessing, but we'll have to figure out how to go about it and how to protect our humanness, our inefficiency, our privacy. And we have to think about that as we develop new things. So as we're going from graphic interfaces to conversational AI, we're going to basically speak to computers as if there were people. Here's an example from an app called humane.ai.
Humane AI Pen. It's a standalone device and software platform built from the ground up for AI. Engagement comes through your voice, touch, gesture, the laser ink display. Play the song How Music Makes You Feel Better. Weather, the date, how much protein?
These almonds have 15 grams of protein.
Well, you get the point here, right? It was supposed to be launching in March. Hasn't launched yet. I think this is very complicated. There's going to be some time before that actually works. Imagine if you're in a noisy, like a workshop or a campus, that will be pretty tough to make that work. But it's coming. We're moving to conversational AI, moving to a world where this will be basically everywhere. Every command line, every browser window, every car, everything we do will be connected to smart machines that can give answers. Amazon Rufus is an app where you can buy stuff on Amazon. And of course, you can buy more stuff on Amazon because of Rufus. They're quite happy about that. Google has an app that is an artificial intelligence doctor where you can ask very specific questions. It gives good advice. So that would be quite helpful, especially in countries like, in Africa, for example, continents like Africa, where we have not enough doctors. So that could make a dent in the cost of healthcare. That's why all these industries are changing, because, I can use these tools to find things. And of course, it has to be authorized and it has to be done in such a way where we can easily expect that to happen. So powerful stuff. I think what we're seeing here is really this convergence of HI, human intelligence, and machine intelligence, AI, artificial intelligence. Some people have been calling this alien intelligence, intelligence that comes from outside, which is kind of true in a way. We've always thought about aliens coming and doing that with us, not to us. And now it's us who have built these machines. So in this feature, it's about biological intelligence, and that is 8 different things, according to Gardner. I'm sure you're aware of these things. Social, intellectual, kinesthetic, musical, purposeful intelligence. All of this, the whole ballpark of human intelligence is not just about knowledge. It's not just about logic. Digital intelligence is about logic. That's where it falls short, of course, because the logic is unlimited. It has everything that's ever been said and written in the cloud. That's very powerful. But does it truly understand human existence? And human existence is a little bit more than just digital numbers, emotions, intuition, compassion, consciousness, values, spirituality, empathy. Powerful stuff that we need to focus on, because the machines will do the heavy lifting when it's about simple logic, commodity work, like I said before. So this is, of course, where we should be going to school for, but can you go to school for mystery, consciousness, empathy, right? That's an interesting question. That's something that you learn kind of inadvertently. As we move into our world, the human world, we have a complete 360-degree understanding of the world. We don't think with the head and the brain. We think with the body. And intelligence is the ability to solve problems. Machines can do that, solve certain problems, as long as they can be solved in that calculation kind of way, logical kind of way. But consciousness, the ability to feel things, that takes humans. And I don't want that for machines to be something that they should be doing. And I think we should not invent machines that have consciousness. That would be a very bad idea for many reasons, or for economic reasons, for practical reasons, for national security reasons, for all of that, right? Basically, consciousness should be kept for humans. I feel very strongly about that, because knowledge work means, we don't just compute things. We don't just go back there, pick up information. We think about EQ, emotional quotient, and IQ. That is the education of the future. EQ and IQ, not just STEM and engineering and math and science. Machines can do that. It's rule-based systems. Now it's about emotional intelligence, social intelligence, creativity, negotiation, design. Because let's keep in mind what's happening here. Right? Machines don't think. Machines don't have hunches, very important for human business, right? Machines don't understand, they understand the facts. Machines don't imagine, and they certainly don't care. And they shouldn't. As long as we keep that in mind, I think these are powerful tools. It's kind of like, if you're a carpenter, use a nail gun, you can, fix things quicker. You can go about the work quicker, but a nail gun is also quite dangerous. You have to know how to use it. Right? So machines don't do all these things, but they do other things that we can apply them to. So as we're moving into this world, the pyramid of what we're going to end up doing changes dramatically. So the lower part, intelligence, knowledge, data and information, that's kind of becoming machine turf. Not all knowledge, of course, intelligence. We'll keep a lot of that as well. But simple data and information, machines will do that. And that will change our education forever. We're going to move up into the top part of this pyramid, the human turf, right? Tacit knowledge, quiet knowledge, understanding, wisdom, purpose, consciousness, spirituality, human agency. How do we learn that at school? Well, that should be part of what we're studying. And that's why we should also bring back the humanities, because the humanities is not something that machines will get or will try to understand to make value from. The future of human work is beyond data, and even to some degree beyond knowledge. There's a great book by William Hallal, it's called Beyond Knowledge, that outlines how that would work, and it's powerful stuff to read. So the Polanyi paradox says, you may know about Polanyi, the philosopher, he says, we know more than we can tell. This is important to remember. This is why we are together. This is why we go to physical events. Right? There's things that we know that we just don't know that we know. But we have them. Very hard for machines to have that. The Moravec paradox says whatever is easy for a computer is hard for a human, and vice versa. Bottom line on this is, if you work like a robot, today or tomorrow, a robot will take your job. And that is a certainty. So if you learn like a robot, downloading information for later, you'll end up working for the robot. Very important to keep that in mind. Let's not robotize our students. Let's not robotize what we do. Let's move out of the robotics, the efficiency, the optimization, the productivity. Let's move into what makes us truly human. Let's move into science, technology, engineering, mathematics like we have for a long time, but we must add what I call a HECI, humanity, ethics, creativity, imagination. It's part of my book, Technology versus Humanity. You can read it up there. But basically, it's the two things coming together, not just one of them, to make complete human beings, awesome human beings, as I like to say. Now, we're going to move into a world where that is becoming essentially problem-based learning. In many universities and schools around the world, like in Finland, you already have project-based courses. So you're learning about climate change. You're learning about the language of climate change, the physics of climate change, the politics of climate change. That's the topic. You're not just one thing. So a completely different cup of tea as to how we go about our curriculum. And it's also totally obvious as we're moving into this future, we're going to need to think a little bit larger than this. We're going to need to think about two things here. First, of course, imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. That's what Einstein said. Well, Einstein was quite knowledgeable. Right? So knowledge, intellect, logic, I think that's very important to me, very important to you, I'm sure. We have to combine them. But also something we need here is courage. Courage to go beyond what we've done before. Courage to do something new. So Henry Miller, one of my favorite writers, he said, one's destination is never a place, but a new way of seeing things. We have to see things differently. And I hope that's part of the outcome that we can achieve today. Think about the future differently. It's a new way of seeing things, and we can see things differently, and that creates innovation. And innovation creates progress. So really powerful stuff if we can really see things differently. So let's talk about the end of routine and what that means. I've mentioned it before. So basically what's happening is that machines can now do the routine work, whether it's in factories, driving a car, kind of, right? But calculating things, doing a customer service order, comparing data, filing information, do your social security check, all that. If it's routine, the machine can do it. So these routines are things that machines can do. And they're learning by 2030, every routine can be handled as long as it doesn't require human judgment. And you'd be surprised how many routines require human judgment, like driving a car. It turns out it's not quite as simple as just getting a bunch of computer and LiDARs on top of that. No, we don't really have a lot of self-driving cars. I mean, we're getting there, and Elon keeps promising, but yeah, we have assisted driving now, already be a good start. We have robots that help us, for example, in the kitchen. But, let's be frank, who would want to buy a $250,000 kitchen robot like this so he can make a salad? That seems kind of a stretch. But anyway, I mean, we're getting into automation, into routine. And of course, as I was saying earlier jokingly, the monkey work is going away. AI will probably liberate us from doing the monkey work. But then again, there's some monkey work that's quite valuable. It's also comforting to some people. And we have to think about people who do mostly commodity work. What happens to them? How do we figure out what happens to their work and their workplace? Do we support them to find something else? Do we have a basic income? Or all these things have been discussed many times. We have to think about where that's going. We can't just say, well, replace all of that. Like you see here in this chart, I think this is from ARC Partners. The output of AI-assisted knowledge workers is vastly bigger. So 4 or 5 times paralegals, office support, I can work faster, more efficiently. And of course, the key question is, can I trust the AI to give me the right answers? So there'll be quite a bit of supervision there. But imagine if we can be even 3 times as efficient in work. I mean, that truly is going to change our entire economy. And that means I can do other jobs. I can do human-only jobs. But we have to be careful so that it doesn't evolve into the polarization where the people who are running the systems and who are on top, they're doing really great, and everybody else is doing bad because they're being automated. That's something we got to think about. Very big discussion about how to do that. So the challenges of AI, I give you a couple of slides on this, and then we'll wrap up and have conversation. So first, I'm using this mock-up here from OpenAI, from Blade Runner. That was 1982. The corporation, the Tyrell Corporation, that basically ran the replicants, right? And famous quote from that film, more human than human. That's what a machine can be. I think we have to wonder about this, and we have to wonder about people like Mark Andreessen, who's a techno-optimist and probably the biggest investor in Silicon Valley for the last 25 years. Very smart guy, but he says here, no material problem, including those caused by technology, cannot be solved with more technology. And I really don't agree with that. I think we have many problems where we need human policy, social, cultural issues to go into it to solve things. We're not going to solve wars with technology. And in fact, we're stoking wars with technology. So we got to think about that. We got to probably figure out how to use an intelligent artificial intelligence agency according to the IAIA. The United Nations has called for that. I think that is definitely a good idea. When we think about general intelligence, machines with an IQ of 1 trillion, we got to think about how we can control that, like nuclear weapons. So that's coming. Not today. Today we have much more sort of menial concerns about how that's going to impact our labor market, but they're also going to grow. And we have to think about how we can protect what makes us human, because great technology should not aim to replace humans, but to amplify human capabilities. Doug Engelbart, the founder of artificial intelligence, of the field, right? 1955, augmentation, cognification, automation, And what we don't want is the last part. We don't want artificial intelligence to create what I call dehumanization, where we have to pretend to be like machines because the machines like it. And in social media, we've had many of those issues. And, we have to rehumanize social media. We have to rehumanize media in general. So we have to be careful about dehumanization. We don't want that because that takes away our value. If you become technology, you become a commodity. Not a good idea, something we have to think about how we can protect ourselves and how we can use our digital rights. And now, the European Commission has just passed the Artificial Intelligence Act on this topic. I think it's very powerful stuff. Not always easy to execute on that, of course, right? Let me wrap up by talking about the future mindset and future readiness. Very important point for a university. So I couldn't find a woman here with a World War I, I think, or World War II radar listening device. But basically, we have to try and learn how to pay attention to the future. And we have to observe, not predict, just observation. And there's always things like critical thinking, foresight, imagination, resilience, questions, optimism, courage. We have to practice those, not just logic, not just productivity. And that's so crucial for a university to install that in their students and, of course, the staff as well. Critical thinking, resilience, asking questions. Because basically, I really believe that the world of the future is not about having bigger brains and being smarter. Being smarter, faster, more intelligent, more knowledge, more productivity and efficiency is not the key to our future success. It's taken for granted that we're smarter and faster. It's not the only key. The key is to be more human, to understand things that only humans can. The percentage of human-only tasks, the things that we do because we are human, it's going up rapidly already. I think it's going to go to 98% or so, basically, in the very near future. The things that we do because we have to do them. Judgment, negotiation, observation, imagination, intuition. We have to learn those things, and we have to get better at them to actually form a human-only future. Well, human-only in the sense of, we are part of people, planet, purpose, prosperity. We're not just humans. There's also the planet and, of course, nature. So what do we do now? First, let's keep in mind, the doors aren't closing. People look at today, and they look at wars, they look at geopolitics, they look at, the climate crisis, and they're saying that the doors are closing for humanity. I don't think that's true. I think the doors are opening, not closing. And the opening is the painful part. That's the part where we say, now we have to act differently. We found the tiny opening. If you've ever been to therapy, you know what I'm talking about. You find the tiny opening in that door. It's very painful. You have to go through there. On the other end, there's a new future. That's what's happening right now. The doors are opening. And we have to look at this and say, how can we build a good future? A just future, a fair future, right? A future that works for all of us, not just Americans, of course, on a global level, and not just Europeans. We have to think of a larger story, people, planet, purpose, and prosperity. And we have to think about education and what we learn in a larger way. It's going to be about awesome humans. I love that great old American word. Doesn't really exist in Germany or anywhere else. But with amazing technology, not under amazing technology, not slave by amazing technology. Let's keep in mind, technology has no ethics, and lots of technology companies don't have a lot of ethics either, like Meta and other companies. Well, we have to wonder, what are they doing to us? Are they still doing the right thing? We have to supervise that. We need to have awesome humans. That's the point of education. That's where we're going to go to. So we need to think about the future like this and say, wow, okay, so clearly I could be worried and hide under the sofa because, there may be a nuclear conflict. There may be geopolitical change. There may be something happening with China. And then, it's like 100 things. But here's the thing. Your mindset contains your future. Mindset means you think badly about the future, what is possible, what's not possible, it will end up badly. It's self-fulfilling prophecy. We must stay optimistic. The optimist makes the future. The pessimist is subject to the future falling down on them. It's something that we make. The future doesn't come from Silicon Valley or from China or from, never mind, Russia or someplace like that. The future is something that we make. All of us, every day, we make decisions. And universities are, of course, destined to lead in how we make that future. Great quote here from Buckminster Fuller. He says, we are to be architects of the future, not its victims. That is just so important because we want to take charge of the future. No matter where you are, we all can be in charge of our future, even if we're not subject to making policy. Now, artificial intelligence, clearly, it's a powerful tool. We need to embrace it. We need to engage. But let's use it with care. Like I said earlier, you can use a nail gun if you're a carpenter, but you better be careful how you use it. You can use a hammer and kill people. So those issues are common to all tools. But we have to engage with care. And we have to look at boundaries and say what's okay and what's not okay. It's not okay to mimic how politicians or other leaders look like and spread manipulated information. It's not okay to spread 50 million blog posts on one topic just because you have a fancy robot that can do it. So, you got to think about that. So basically engage, but use with care. So I want to thank you very much for your time and your attention. I know this was a lot of information. We're going to pass along the PDF, and the video will be available later on replay on YouTube and other places as well. Now we're going to dive into a conversation. We're going to bring James back, and now I look forward to your chats and your comments and your questions and whatever you have in mind. Thanks very much.